Hi, my name is Zainab, and I'm going to be making a traditional West African dish we call it groundnut stew. It's actually peanuts, roast peanuts, and in America or in Europe we would use peanut butter because that's basically what it's made with. And I'm making a fish version today. And here we have the ingredients. Scotch bonnet, very important for African cuisine because I like spicy. Various peppers, I use like red bell pepper or poblano peppers. You don't have to. The recipe can be very, very sort of flexible. It's really up to you what you want to use. The only one thing you have to use, of course, is the peanut butter because it is a peanut butter stew. And also you have to have quite a few tomatoes. I mean, it's a dish you'll find all over West Africa. Peanuts are like a big main cash crop in West Africa, so we tend to put it in a lot of stuff. Today I've got sea bass and tilapia. It's like any sort of firm fish that won't fall apart. Usually you can make it with whatever form of protein you really like. Chicken, beef, or pork. My husband tends to go for the pork because it's a vegetable to him.
Nature's candy.
It's there for the food. That. Really?
Yes.
Oh, I forgot to tell you about the... These are like the tips of my oregano, which we don't actually use in West African cuisine, but we use a lot of thyme and a lot of basil. So, sacrilege, heresy, I'm adding oregano. My mother will be spinning. How dare you? Today we're doing tilapia. Because it's firm and gorge. Because it's firm and tasty. They actually cook it in Africa a lot because it's actually in our neck of the woods as well, so it's a little bit of home. Well, my mum actually taught me to do this the first time I started cooking African food when I met Tim, because he was really into it. So I decided, okay, I'm going to be a good wife and learn how to do these things. So I would have my mum on the speakerphone from London talking me through the steps while I cook. I'm now going to start sauteing the onions, peppers, garlic, and herbs. Get the onions going. Normally you wait for the oil to heat up before you add the onions, but I like to just do it because I want to get it sort of soft without having sort of a brown, crisp edge to it. Magic ingredient is you need a bouillon cube. I forgot to tell you about that. It has all those good things like herbs, spices, and MSG, which makes everything taste better. You know it's true. And then the way my mom does it, she'll just throw in the cube right on there. Cover it up. So you let it sweat, as they say, you let it perspire, because I'm a lady. And then what I do in the meantime, I get the peanut butter. Now I've left this out already to bring to room temperature because it tends to be really hard in the fridge. But right now in New York it's about 1,000 degrees, so it's lovely. Now I'm going to scoop a generous amount of it into... I mean, you can add as much or as little as you want depending on how peanutty you want it. It's a thickening agent too, so you want to be careful. I tend to like mine not so thick. Now what I do to soften it is I add some water here, just about halfway up the cup, and I just stir it just to break it up so it's not just a lump of peanut butter that's going to be in there. This is another thing of me modifying it. Usually they use smooth peanut butter. I tend to go for crunchy because I like the texture. You know, and which my mum thinks is just sacrilege. She just is just horrified at the thought I'm using crunchy peanut butter. So I usually just let the onions saute about like 3 or 4 minutes. Add the peppers. What I learned from my mum in terms of pepper, Scotch bonnet pepper, which is lethally hot, but it's invaluable in West African cooking. We like spice. We like to break a sweat when we eat. So what my mum does is she would just throw the pepper in whole like this. That way it permeates the sauce, the flavor comes out, but it doesn't, you know, unleash its true power. Or you can crush it if you want, that way if you want the full potential of it, but I tend to just leave it like this because then it'll give people whose mouths are not quite accustomed to the heat a chance to taste it without being, you know, set on fire. And then I could take the pepper myself and crush it in my personal plate. I'm just putting a pinch of salt. Now I'm going to add my crushed tomato sauce, which is made with basil and garlic and oregano. Oh my God, more sacrilege. Just, I'm going to do about that much of it. Let it all meld together for about 4 or 5 minutes. I'm going to add this to the onions and tomatoes and peppers so far. And then I'm going to add peanut solution. You can see it's actually quite thickened already. If it's too thick, you could always just add some water. I'm going to add a squeeze of lemon to the peanut stew. A lot of people do actually throw lemon in there. My mum didn't do that, but I do, because I like to bend the rules a little. Just a basic seasoning on the fish. A little bit of oil in here. Just salt and pepper. Massage it and mush it up. We'll wait for the oil to heat up. Just crowd it all in there. I'm just taking out the fish that I think is pretty much brown. It's not cooked through. I just wanted to basically just get a browning on it. I'm now going to add the fish to the stew, and it'll give it a few minutes, and then it'll be all ready to go.
Or butter.
Right. Give it a good stir. Get it all in there. So there you go. So we're just going to let that meld for a few minutes. Bob's your uncle. Okay, let's have some. I'm going to serve some rice, a couple of spoonfuls of rice. Okay. The sauce goes over the rice. Okay. Isn't that gorgeous? Isn't that gorge? Damn it. Stove, babe.
I love the stew, but I like it better the next day.
Yeah, the next day.
It's a next day stew. I mean, right now you're gonna find it amazing. This is like a distinct flavoring of tomato, peanuts, and so on. The next day it becomes this singularity.
Let me see. Try it. This is delicious. It's really hot.
It's one of your best. Better than my pork chop.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
Sure.
But it actually goes good with fish too.
But the fish, yeah, I like the fish.
Well, see, right now you got your lemon proportions are perfect for fish.
This is so good.
You don't
Thank
need
you.
shrimp, babe.
Wow. That's so nice.